In this video, I'm breaking down a few games that honestly didn't live up to the hype. Yeah, they're considered failures by most, but I was hooked. I spent over 200 hours on each of these titles because something about them just kept pulling me back in. I truly believe that with the right updates and maybe a fresh relaunch, these games could actually become incredible. So let's dive in and talk about what went wrong and what could still go right. Have you ever been addicted to a game that flopped? Which one and why did it hook you? Anthem. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving deep into Anthem, BioWare's ambitious but controversial looter shooter released in 2019. Whether you've played it, heard about it, or are just curious, this video will break down everything. The gameplay, story, post-launch updates, and whether it's worth your time today. Have you played Anthem before? What did you think when it first dropped? Let's get into it. What is Anthem? Anthem is a third-person cooperative action RPG developed by BioWare and published by EA. You step into the role of a freelancer piloting powerful exosuits known as Javelins across a wild, unpredictable planet shaped by a mysterious force called the Anthem of Creation. Think Iron Man meets Destiny in a jungle. The game was heavily marketed as a shared world shooter, combining fast combat, vertical movement, and a living, breathing environment. It aimed to redefine BioWare's legacy, but did it succeed? Javelins explain there are 4 Javelin exosuits, each offering a completely different playstyle. Ranger, the all-around suit, balanced offense and defense, good for beginners. Colossus, the tank, heavy armor, devastating attacks, but slow and bulky. Interceptor, fast and agile, melee focused. If you love speed, this is your jam. Storm, the mage of the squad, uses elemental abilities to hover and strike from afar. Each javelin can be customized with weapons, mods, and gear. Loadouts can drastically change how you approach combat. Which javelin do you think suits your playstyle the most? Combat and customization. Combat is Anthem's strongest feature. The combination of aerial flight, dodging, elemental abilities, and squad synergy creates intense cinematic battles. Combos are key. Freeze enemies with one player, then detonate with another for big damage. Weapons range from basic rifles to legendary loot with special effects. There's a real flow to combat, especially once your team learns to work together. Customization goes beyond just numbers. Your javelin can be painted, skinned, and styled to match your personality. The world of Anthem, set on an untamed alien world. Anthem's environment is beautiful and dangerous. Waterfalls cascade from floating rocks. Lightning storms crackle above jungles, and ancient ruins hide mysterious tech. There's no loading between land and sky. You fly straight into action. Whether you're in a mission or free play mode, there's a sense of freedom few games offer. But as pretty as it is, some felt the world lacked depth. More on that later. Do graphics and art style affect how much you enjoy a game, story, and lore? At the center of Anthem's world is the Anthem of Creation, a cosmic force capable of reshaping reality. It's responsible for creating life and chaos. You play as a freelancer, part of a fading order of warriors who once protected humanity. Operating out of Fort Tarsis, you're caught between rebuilding your legacy and stopping the Dominion, a fascist faction trying to harness the Anthem's power. Characters like Owen, Faye, and Haluk help guide the story, but many players found the narrative disjointed and underdeveloped. Still, there's interesting lore if you dig for it, like the Shapers, ancient beings who once controlled the Anthem. Did Anthem's story pull you in, or did it fall flat? Multiplayer and co-op. Anthem is a game built for co-op. You can squad up with 3 other players and tackle story missions, legendary contracts, strongholds like dungeons, free play events, cataclysms. There's no PvP, it's strictly PvE. Great for players who enjoy teamwork without competition. The problem, without coordination, the experience can get repetitive fast. The end game, after finishing the main campaign, you're left with strongholds, high difficulty missions with rare loot, cataclysms, time-limited world events with new enemies and modifiers, legendary contracts, missions with increased difficulty and narrative threads, free play, roam the open world, farm loot and trigger world events. But many felt the endgame loop lacked meaningful progression. Without new content or significant variety, motivation to grind dwindled. Let's talk. What do you want in a game's endgame? Launch problems. When Anthem launched in 2019, it was plagued with server crashes, long load times, bugs, and crashes on all platforms, loot drop issues, a confusing UI, while the flying and combat were praised. The repetition, technical problems, and lack of polish frustrated many players. The game's Metacritic scores reflect the disappointment. Post-launch support and Anthem. Next, BioWare attempted to overhaul the game with Anthem Next, a major rework promising to fix progression, loot, and core systems. But in 2021, EA officially canceled Anthem Next and ceased active development. Despite that, a core fan base stuck around, appreciating the flight, visuals, and combat, even without new content. What Anthem did right, let's give credit where it's due. Incredible flight mechanics, unmatched in any other looter shooter. Gorgeous world design, full of verticality and beauty. Satisfying combat, when it works, it feels amazing. Strong co-op potential. Great when played with friends. Your turn. What did you love about Anthem, if anything? What Anthem did wrong now? The tough truth. Poor storytelling and character development, unrewarding loot system, lack of mission variety, technical issues and bugs, no long-term support. Anthem had a vision, but couldn't fully execute it. Final thoughts. Anthem is a textbook case of what could have been. If you're looking for a beautiful co-op game with satisfying flight and combat, it might be worth jumping in even now. But manage your expectations. The servers are still up and there's a small community still flying. Would you play Anthem in 2025? Drop your thoughts below. I read every comment. What did you think of Anthem at launch versus now? Do you think it deserves a sequel or a reboot? What other games had a similar fall from grace or redemption arc? Let's start a discussion in the comments. I want to hear your stories. If you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss more deep dives like this. Outriders. Yo, welcome back to the channel. In today's deep dive, we're exploring Outriders, the third-person shooter RPG that blends superpowers, sci-fi, and raw intensity like few others. Whether you played it, skipped it, or are just hearing about it now, this video will walk you through everything you need to know. We're going to break down the lore, gameplay, classes, combat, and endgame, and talk about whether Outriders deserves a second life in 2025 and beyond. Did you ever try Outriders? If so, what class did you play? Drop it in the comments. I'll be reading everyone. The setting, humanity's last hope. Outriders takes place in a bleak future. Earth has been drained of its resources, wrecked by war and climate collapse. Humanity has no choice but to leave. 2 massive colony ships are sent across the galaxy to a planet called Enoch, but only one makes it. You're an outrider, part soldier, part explorer. It's your job to scout Enoch and prep it for colonization. But this isn't some paradise planet. Instead, it's a place of storms, bloodshed, and a mysterious force known only as the Anomaly. When you first land, everything goes sideways. The Anomaly mutates people, tech breaks down, and Enoch turns into a war zone where only the strongest survive. If Earth was failing, would you risk your life traveling to a new planet like Enoch? The Anomaly and your powers. The Anomaly is what defines Outriders. It tears through reality like a cosmic virus, killing some and transforming others into godlike beings. You're one of the lucky ones. You survive and evolve. You become an altered, someone with incredible powers, able to manipulate fire, time, gravity, or tech. It's not just about guns anymore. You are the weapon. There's something satisfying about unleashing a fire tornado or slowing time to rip enemies apart with a shotgun blast. The chaos is addictive. 4 classes, 4 ways to dominate Outriders offers 4 distinct classes, each with a completely different playstyle. Let's break them down. Trickster, you're the assassin. Short range, time-bending chaos. Slow enemies, teleport behind them, slice and vanish. Style and speed. Devastator, the tank. Earth-shattering power. Pull rock shields from the ground, leap across the battlefield, and absorb damage like a beast. Pyromancer, long-range and mid-range firepower. Ignite foes, detonate explosive flame waves, and heal through burning. Technomancer, the support sniper. Use drones, turrets, poison, and tech tools to overwhelm enemies from a distance. Each class has its own skill trees, gear sets, and combinations that keep things fresh. Which class do you think would be your main? Combat, fast, furious, and unapologetic. Unlike many cover-based shooters that punish you for pushing forward, Outriders rewards aggression. Healing is tied to how you kill. The faster and smarter you fight, the longer you survive. This makes every battle a rush. You're not hiding behind cover. You're charging into the storm. Add powers to the mix, and suddenly you're juggling enemies mid-air, freezing mobs with a turret, or teleporting into an ambush with a time slice combo. It's chaotic, but it works, especially when you and your team are synced up. Customization and RPG progression. Progression in Outriders goes deep. Here's what you can tweak and build. Skill trees that branch into different builds, damage, support, tanky, etc. Mods that completely change how your abilities work. Legendary weapons and armor with crazy effects. Crafting and upgrading gear for perfect stat rolls. Cosmetic customization of your Outriders look and style. There's a true RPG backbone here, not just shooter mechanics. You can create wildly different builds even within the same class. Do you enjoy customizing builds in RPGs, or do you just want to shoot stuff? Co-op gameplay and multiplayer. You can play solo, but Outriders shines brightest in 3-player co-op. You and 2 friends or random players can squad up, combine class powers, and melt enemies together. The synergy is real. Trickster slows time so Devastator can charge in. Pyromancer burns a group while Technomancer drops poison. It's chaotic teamwork in the best way. The drop-in, drop-out system is seamless, and there's no PvP, so it's strictly squad versus world action. Endgame, expeditions, world tiers, and more. Once the campaign ends, Outriders introduces expeditions, high-level missions with better loot, harder enemies, and time-based scoring. There are also world tiers and apocalypse tiers, which let you increase the challenge for bigger rewards. Endgame builds matter here. Loot grinding becomes crucial. Team coordination becomes key. Post-launch expansions like Worldslayer added even more content, including apocalypse loot and new progression layers. Do you like loot grinds and time challenge modes, or is that a turn-off? Reception at launch. Outriders launched in April 2021 to mixed reviews. Praise, addictive combat and class powers, satisfying loot loop, cool world design. Criticism, story, pacing, and writing felt weak. Connectivity, issues, and bugs on launch. Repetitive mission structure for some. Despite the rough start, the game pulled in over 3.5 million players in its first month, and People Can Fly pushed updates and expansions to keep it going. What Outriders did right: intense, kinetic combat with real weight, creative classes and powers, great balance between solo and team play, deep RPG systems under a shooter's skin, no microtransactions, no battle pass. It's a complete experience. What Outriders did wrong: unpolished launch, forgettable NPCs and story beats, limited mission variety by the end, connectivity problems at key moments. Still, the game built a dedicated following, and many believe it deserves more. Why it deserves a comeback. Now, here's my take. Outriders and Anthem both had rocky starts, but their potential was massive. If these games were relaunched, rebuilt, or refined in 2025 with new gen polish, better live support, and a second chance at storytelling, people would come back. The combat's still fun, the worlds are still wild, the vision is still strong. Should Outriders and Anthem get remakes or sequels? Would you play again? Let's talk. Let's close with a few questions for you. Which game did it better, Outriders or Anthem? What would you change to make them thrive again? Would you support a remaster or does it need a full sequel? Drop your answers in the comments. Let's turn this into a full-blown discussion. I'm genuinely curious how the community feels. And if you made it this far, you're a real one. Like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more game breakdowns, retrospectives, and real talk like this. Peace.